Hey friends, welcome back to another day, another moment, another opportunity to work on ourselves holistically. All right, I hope you guys had an awesome week. But guess what? It's time, friends, time to get started on this week's episode of Heal You, the Bloom series. You ready? By now, you should know to have your journals, your notebooks, your pen, paper, and your favorite drink ready. Let's get started. All right, relax a little bit. You ready? Focus. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Take another deep breath in. Exhale. Let's stay right here, right in this moment. Imagine standing outside after a long storm. The ground is damp. The air is still heavy. But the clouds begin to part. The sunlight, warm and steady, breaks through. You step forward. You allow it to touch your skin. This moment, standing in the sunlight, you know it didn't come easy, right? We didn't just arrive here by accident. If you've been on this journey with me, you already know how much ground we've covered. You know, we started at the roots, getting back to the basics. We confronted our fears, faced down our grief, chose forgiveness, practiced setting boundaries, and found strength in our surrender. We've explored faith. We've even dared to find joy again. Each week, every single week, from week 1 to week 14, you, my friends, have said yes to yourself. You chose healing, even when it was uncomfortable, even when it was slow. And I want to say that I am proud of you. I am proud of us for making it this far. And if this is your first time listening, welcome. You're not behind. You're right on time. I encourage you when you have the time to explore the earlier episodes when you're ready. Let them meet you where you are, because it's worth it. And today, friends, we take another step. We shift from surviving to receiving, from guarded to grounded, from hiding to healing out loud. I don't know about you, friends, but I am oh so ready. This is what it looks like to stand in the sunlight, to live with open hands and an open heart. Right here. You see it? This is what it looks like, friend. Today, we're going to talk about what it looks like to stand in who we are, to live with open hands and an open heart. Before we get started, I put this on. I've had this as a gift from my babe since 2009. When I met him and our friendship started, this was the basis to our friendship. That wherever our friendship took us, however far it was, we will always be grounded in our friendship. that we would always have an open heart, be willing to listen to each other, to learn about each other, to know and understand our past, our traumas, our happiness, the areas where we were alike, the areas where we were totally different, and to commit as friends to individually and collectively always support each other with an open heart. And I am so thankful I was able to experience all the years of our friendship in that way before he passed, and forever as I hold on to the memories we shared. Let's get started. This is a journey through the storm. You know, it's easy to look at someone standing tall and assume they've always been there. But if you're anything like me, you know what it's like to survive things no one ever saw. To smile when your world felt shattered. To keep going when you barely had the energy to get out of bed. I know I'm not alone. This journey, it was made up of quiet victories, of whispered prayers, and silent tears. Of choosing not to give up when you had every darn reason to do so. Maybe you're still walking through a storm. Maybe your sunlight is just beginning to peek through. Either way, friends, you are not alone. Healing isn't about getting it all right. Healing is about being honest. It's about continuing even when you feel like quitting. You are here. You are still breathing. You are still trying. And you and I, we, my friends, are still becoming. And that's important. Take a moment. Think about what you've already made it through. Take a big moment and think about all of the things you've already made it through. You didn't just survive, friends. You grew roots. You developed wings. You built resilience in silence. Let that sink in. Let this moment remind you of just how awesome you are. You did it all in silence. And that's important to acknowledge and understand the strength of who you are. You know, you can't reach for sunlight with clenched fists. We all get so nervous. And that's something I've had to learn the hard way, that everything that we do, every step that we take doesn't have to happen with clenched fists. We hold so tightly to things we think we need. The control, perfection, the past, people who were never meant to stay. Sometimes we hold on because it feels safer than trusting what might come next. We think if I let go, I might fall apart. If I release this pain, what's left of me? I'm sure I'm not the only one that's had that feeling. But what if the letting go is exactly what makes space for the light? What if, friends? What if by letting go, we're making space for the light? I had to ask myself recently, what am I still holding on to that keeps me from freedom? Just the freedom to be able to be myself, to be able to shine like only Shai can, to be able to smile with authenticity, to feel beautiful again, to have the desire to dream and create, to do things based on who I am in this given moment. And friends, maybe that's a question you can sit with too. Maybe that's what is needed. What would it feel like to stop gripping, to take a moment to exhale? Open your eyes and surrender. What would that feel like? And you don't have to do it all at once. You can surrender bit by bit. But today, maybe you loosen the grip a little bit, just enough to let something new in. Just a little bit, friends. Take it step by step. And let me ask you something real. When was the last time you received something? Love. A compliment. An opportunity. Without apologizing for receiving it. Sometimes when we've lived in survival mode, joy feels foreign. We question it. We distrust it. We downplay our own light just to stay safe. But what if you didn't shrink this time? What if you said thank you and you let it bless you? What if you showed up to the moment as you are? Not smaller, not muted, but fully present. Not ironically, but just how the universe works. I had a conversation this morning, with a friend of mine. And I was talking about how I've let go. And how I'm having conversations of interest with people. And how I refuse to not speak up for who I am in the now. To not accept the mediocre of a conversation. I have more years behind me than I have in front of me. So who is going to be the advocate for Shai in having conversations with others if I don't stand up and be myself and be comfortable in saying what's acceptable and not acceptable? I believe at this point in my life that intentionality is a must. If you want to step to me and have a conversation, I need people to be intentional about it. And do you know how much letting go and opening up it's taken me to even think with that mindset right now? That's healing and that's growth, my friends. And this week, I want you to notice how often you deflect light. You deflect the opportunity. You accept the proposal. You accept the acknowledgement. You accept someone giving you a compliment. And instead, try this. When the good comes, breathe it in, friends. Let it land all over you. Take it in. Because you don't have to earn it. You don't have to explain it. You're allowed to stand in the light. and enjoy it. And it's safe, friends, for you to shine. It's okay for you to shine. It's time for you to shine. And living open doesn't mean being naive in the process. It means you've been through enough to know what matters to you. And you're choosing not to let fear close you off to it. Let me say that again so I can hear it for myself. I'm not going to allow fear to close me off to it. I'm committing to it myself. I get it. An open heart is vulnerable. It is. It risks rejection. It risks being understood. And for a lot of women who speak up for themselves, it risks making the other person feel intimidated. And for the men who feel that a woman who stands up for themselves is intimidating, it actually isn't. It's a way to communicate and get to know each other. By opening your heart during conversations, you allow yourself to release the emotions of doubt and negativity, to release the past and say, hey, here's an opportunity to have a conversation in the moment. But it's not just about relationships. It's about friendships as well, being comfortable in friendships and being open and having those conversations. A guarded heart, my friends, can't receive love in no way, shape, or form. Not the real kind of love. And closed hands, my friends, can't hold blessings. Closed hands can't hold blessings. At some point, friends, healing asks us, are you willing to live free, even if it means risking disappointment? Whew. And let me be honest with you. You'll still have boundaries in that process. I just talked about it. You'll still use discernment by just having an open heart. But your openness becomes your strength. It's no longer your weakness. Your openness allows you to be stronger through your process. So today I challenge you to try to soften, not for the world, but for yourself. You deserve it because your light, your energy, your love, it's needed. The world needs more gentleness. The world needs more openness. It needs more light and it needs more love. Here's the thing. Standing in the sunlight doesn't mean the journey is over. Not at all. It means you've made space for joy again. It means you've built something sturdy from the pain that you've endured. It means your story isn't stuck in survival mode. It's blooming in presence. Let's not wait until we've arrived somewhere perfect to honor how far we've come. Celebrate the version of you who kept showing up, who tried, who cried, who danced anyway. You're not finished. You're becoming. And today, we celebrate that becoming. You know, with that same friend, I had a conversation, or maybe it was a thought afterwards. Most of my adult life, for most of my life, for as long as I can remember, I have been in survival mode. whether it was surviving the childhood trauma that I went through, then it was surviving the trauma of getting married and then asking for a divorce and having to work through that process. Whether it was surviving the trauma of finding out about my illness and how I learned how to get through that and live a life that's somewhat normal and still be able to shine. Whether it was being a single mom, working full time, starting college at the age of 30, getting both a bachelor's and a master's degree within 7 years, building my career in the last 15, 20 years of my life. For many, many years, I have been in survival mode, and I have committed to be open, to enjoy myself now, to be free, to let go. And it feels good. For me, it feels good. And that's what matters, is that it feels good for me. I challenge you, friends, to breathe in the light. Let it rest on your shoulders. You're no longer in hiding. You're here. And the world is better because of it. As we close today, remember, the sunlight you're standing in isn't borrowed. It's yours. You didn't stumble here. You fought your way forward. And now you live with open hands and an open heart. Not because life was easy, but because healing was worth it. Because it was worth it, friends. Next week, we're going to begin a new rhythm. We'll go into week 16, the dance of becoming, embracing your evolving self. Because this is not the end of your story, friends. It's just a new beginning. Have a great week. Talk to you soon.